Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad and very happy to start with the first panel with my colleagues, ministers, and it will be a great pleasure to start with a panel starting with 3D, diversification, derusification, and we will have the pleasure to see 3 of ministers from the region. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start. In the middle. So, my great pleasure to host with me my distinguished colleagues, and first Mr. Riina from Estonia. You served previously as minister also in the Estonian government, but right now, very recently, you took this hot portfolio. So how it is to be minister in this time? This is the first question that I will ask you. And of course, having with me Dainius, my long-term friend from Lithuania. And George, thank you very much for joining us from Romania. It's a great pleasure to have all of you. And so, Riina, how is it to be minister during such a difficult time?
I'm a very risk-averse person, so I want to take a portfolio that I know what it's about, and everyone knows that what energy is about this year, and it is a difficult portfolio. So, but I prefer portfolio without surprises. So it was an easy decision for me.
Yes. So you mean no surprises? I mean, you know what you have to do.
Yes, I know what I have to do.
And that's perfect, because that's precisely the challenge that we have. So how do you see the long-term and short-term challenges ahead of us during this time? Because on one side, we need to increase the provision of hydrocarbons. We need to find gas, coal, oil. And at the same time, we need somehow to get rid of hydrocarbons. How to combine such a paranoid situation, these both challenges?
Actually, I think we're on track. And the things we had to do, move away from Russian energy sources and decarbonize, it's happening, and it's happening even quicker than we would have done it otherwise. So Europe is moving away from Russian energy in a pace that no one would have expected. And at the same time, we all realize that this oil shale or coal, it's a temporary solution. We do it to survive this 1 or 2 difficult winters, but at the same time, invest into renewables, to have local production with very small carbon footprint, and a reasonable price, affordability for the people as well. So I see this as a hiccup that doesn't move us away from a long-term track. In the contrary, it moves us there in a faster pace than we would have expected. So, and we talk about challenges. I think for governments, it's security of supply. That's why when we debate the gas price cap or something, I would say that, let's be careful. The security of supply is essential. This is what we are responsible for. If the price is high, we can compensate. The benefits, this is an easy thing to do for every politician, but the security of supply is a much difficult, challenge for us, and this is something that we together should ensure in Europe.
Okay, so you are not afraid of accumulating costs in the coming winters of going at the same times, short-term providing hydrocarbons, and at the same time investing in long-term diversifying from hydrocarbons?
No, I admit the costs, but in order to compensate for the high prices for the domestic consumers are high, but the investments, they are not state investments. So we should encourage private sector investments and offering the certainty that renewable energy is the future for Europe, you are free to invest. Let's make the planning process easy and everything. So this is not a risk that the countries should or governments should take. So we are responsible for the security of supply and compensating for the domestic consumers, but we have to make the environment, I don't know, in a way, or to attract the investments. The money is there, the interest is there. We need firm political decisions that the coal and oil shale and everything with carbon, it's temporary. No matter what, we are moving towards renewables. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dainius, in Lithuania, this challenge has been long-term solved, so you have a vibrant private sectors in terms of renewables. You have lots of companies also present in Poland. I know them, and they are very active. But at the same time, you did a lot to guarantee what Riina was talking about, the energy security for Lithuania. We built together Litpol Link. We started to build the Harmony Link, another link joining Baltic states through Lithuania with Poland. We started synchronization, so there is a lot that you have on your plate in terms of guaranteeing long-term security of supply and at the same time having this vibrant private sector. But how do you see the challenges of combining short-term and long-term at the same time?
Short term, actually, yeah, there is some schizophrenia that you need to use fossil fuel very actively in the energy systems. And if, for example, in capital city this winter we'll use for heating heating oil, and we switch from gas because gas prices is skyrocketing. So that it is as it is. You need to, first of all, to look at the, let's say, mood of society, at the capabilities of society to pay bills, and at the same time to plan long-term investments, to create a favorite environment for renewables, for solar parks, for wind, offshore, onshore wind parks, and for us, it's let's say it's. I wouldn't say it's normal job, but still, you are combining short term. You are moving forward. You are doing what you have to do. A lot of politics we now have in the country. Just last week, I went through non-confident vote. I won in parliament. So this is very tense situation. But at the same time, we are looking towards future.
I truly believe that here in Warsaw we have a great venue to discuss and share our perspectives on those issues,
let's say,
and that the outcome will serve us a solid ground on how to effectively face Russian aggressive neo-imperialism and the multidimensional consequences of this war. As a result of Russia's brutal invasion in Ukraine, we face a security crisis. We have hoped we would never face again a full-scale
our generation,
Russia's aggression has proven Moscow's neo-imperial ambitions into general disregard for the European security architecture and rules-based international order, as well as readiness to use military force against its neighbors. There are no doubts that the attack has been planned from the very beginning of the Russian military buildup. Before the invasion, Moscow had cynically played for time, continuing its apparent engagement with the West. All that to complete the necessary military preparations with no goodwill to find a diplomatic solution. These lessons should be considered while reassessing further approaches to Russia. From the very beginning of the Russian invasion in Ukraine, the Belarusian regime has sided with Moscow, directly supporting the aggression. Therefore, just as Russia, Belarus should face the same level of our pressure on them. Poland is committed to the 360-degree approach. Therefore, we continue participating participation in efforts aimed at tackling challenges related to NATO's southern flank and the EU's southern neighbor. They are usually associated with countering and preventing terrorism and illegal migration, as well as stabilization of the region. But one should admit that Russia's footprint on the 300
companies very eager to invest, and that's why what I mentioned that 2025 our plans is to have 50% already electricity generated from renewables.
Okay, so in a way, this having difference, you are providing a bit the same answer as Riina. So let's survive the following winters, and let's move towards renewables, and if we lack electricity, then we have interconnectors. But what if we in Poland lack coal? And you know very well, you come very frequently to Poland, and we have seen 2 weeks ago only in Rzeszów together at the discussion. So you know very well that we have an ongoing discussion about whether yes or not we will have enough resources for Poland. So how do you see this interdependence, which is a pillar of your energy security, if other countries are starting to experience shortages?
What I mentioned, that in Lithuania we have enough generation, but electricity is very, very pricey. And as well, we have LNG terminal. So infrastructure is in the place. We could import as much gas as we need. There is no problem. And we could generate electricity as much as we need. But of course, there is the question of price. And when you have question of price, it's a question how deep the government pocket is, how much you can subsidize people and companies and so on. So this is the issue. Yeah, I can understand Poland's situation about coal, but for every problem there is solution. And as I discussed with Minister Riina Moscow, that we are solving the problem, and I think they found solutions, and already found some solutions how to deal with it.
You are a very experienced politician. You are in Seimas since 2012, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 10 years.
Have you ever seen such a challenging situation in terms of social risk?
Yeah, I have, because I was minister at the crisis in financial crisis 2008, 2010. I was minister of economy, and I went through as well. It was a very similar experience, I would say. It's when you are at the center and everybody is angry on you. It's you in media coverage every day. You are on all news. So this is very similar situation. That it's like time machine. I went back to my last experience, so it's not big change. But what is different, that now we are fighting war. In Ukraine, we're together. Ukrainians first, of course, in front line. We're fighting Russia, but as well, Russia, 10 months prior, with physical war, started energy wars against Europe. And the storages were left have filled. The supply to spot market of gas was reduced, and prices started to skyrocket already 10 months prior to the war. So, and this is the difference. This is the difference because you don't know how long we are going to suffer, let's say, this energy war. With simple crisis, you know that, okay, there is a cycle, 1-2 years, and that it is done. Now it's not clear. That means you have to be prepared to fight long, and you should, let's say, be ready to face this challenge. And you should as well encourage and to have dialogue in society about this challenge. That, for example, if we would like to compensate for companies, for households, electricity, gas prices, issue is how long you are going you are going to need to do that. Half of a year, 1 year, 2 years, nobody knows. That means you don't know how much is going to cost for you, and that means you should be very careful. Let's
planning
say,
your money, in fact, also in a way, yes. But okay, but we are also discussing among two most pro-Ukrainian countries, Poland and Lithuania, of course, all Baltic states. But so it's an easy discussion. Yes, we have to suffer. Okay, we have to suffer. Do you see the same determination when you discuss with our German, French, or Spanish or Italian colleagues?
Yeah, but just Friday we spent 1 day in Brussels. General mood is everybody is ready to, I wouldn't say to fight, but everybody ready to face this challenge. Actually, some countries have problems. Okay, if you take Central Europe, Austria, Hungary, Slovakia, they are very dependent on Russia. It's only one source for gas is Russian pipes. And you can understand their worry. You can understand their worry. And this is vulnerability. And this vulnerability we built via last 2 decades. And Russia was, let's say, having strategy, very clear-cut strategy, to connect Europe via pipelines, via oil supply, via gas supply, in order to have and to use this as some tool to influence the policy of the countries. And now we are using this tool. We are using this tool, and for some countries it's very difficult to let's say find an answer in this situation. But what we see, again, as a collective West, as Russians say, collective West, they are fighting collective West. So we are moving forward very fast. And you can look what is going with LNG terminals, for example. 2 terminals were opened in Holland. 4 terminals are now to be built in Germany in coming let's say 5 months. We are going to have terminals in Finland, Estonia just in December. So all around Europe, the decisions are made, the infrastructure are going to be built, and then I guess next year for us could be a bit easier. But still, next year is not going to be let's say, year when we could relax. So,
Riina, you wanted to add something.
Yes, we spent last Friday in Vilnius at the council meeting, and as you asked about what's the general feeling about the Russification of energy sources, and I would say that many countries just wrongly assess the risks. So I also told my colleagues that we have a choice. Do we sanction or price cap Russian energy sources? If we decide not to do, then we just sit and wait when Putin decides to turn off the gas for us. This is the choice we are facing. So there's no hiding that Russia is not a trustworthy partner. Although you have a large share of Russian energy in your energy mix, it's not your choice or your decision to continue this way. It's Putin's decision. And this understanding, it's not there behind the council table. This is what we need to explain and repeatedly explain, that the risks that we take in a situation of war are enormous. And even though we discuss energy, it's never about energy. The front is in Ukraine, but we are all in a war.
Exactly, we are at proxy war, and here in the Baltic Sea we started to see this war entering into the infrastructure, because through delivery of gas. And right now we are having Nord Stream, one of the string of Nord Stream 2, the string B, which is being destroyed. The other one, by the way, is still operating, and Nord Stream 1 as well. Is it the same view from the Black Sea? Because you are much closer, but the challenges, whether are different, and how do you see them from Romanian perspective?
First of all, thank you for the invitation, and let me say that it's a pleasure for me to represent the Ministry of Energy from Romania at this important event. As my colleagues already stated, it's a challenging time for all the countries in the region, and let me remind everybody that Romania stands with Ukraine in this conflict, and we are in the first line of helping and sending aids to the Ukrainians, and a lot of refugees came to Romania and are very well accommodated in our country. Referring to your questions about the challenges in the Black Sea, let me say that Romania is in a quite fortunate position nowadays due to our balanced energy mix. Let me tell you that we have a very important share of renewables already in place in Romania. We continue with our nuclear program, expanding our nuclear power plant in Cernavodă by building 2 more nuclear reactors. So basically we are doubling our power generation from nuclear, also implementing the small modular reactors technology in Romania. Last week we signed a protocol of collaboration between the companies. We established the project company for these small modular reactors, and we have a very good bilateral communications with our strategic partners, the United States of America, in this project. So taking steps in order to consolidate our nuclear program. Referring on the gas situation, let me say that we are looking, because the main topic of discussion is diversification, Derusification, and Decarbonisation. So these 3 concepts are very closely linked together. And diversification, as I told you about our balanced energy mix, you can see that Romania is taking steps in diversification of supply and also of production. And as we are looking to other sources of importing natural gas, also we are taking important steps into finding more production sites. And we started the production in the Black Sea in June this year, where an American company is extracting around 1 billion cubic meter of natural gas per year. So it's a help of our energy system. And also, let me say that the Romanian national company Romgaz bought the shares of Exxon in the most important deposit of natural gas in the Black Sea, and we are hoping that extractions will begin from 2026. So our measures of importing natural gas are on the short term. It's a few years that we will need this gas to be brought into Romania, and we are exploring the possibilities of reaching an agreement with Azerbaijan in this respect, and or using the LNG terminals in Turkey or in Greece.
So you are in a very different position from all 3 countries here, especially Lithuania, Estonia, but also in a way Poland, because you have on one side your nuclear power plant, Cernavodă, and
Cernavodă, yes.
Yeah, and at the same time you have large deposits of natural gas. So how are you going to strive the balance? What will be the more important, decarbonization or diversification? How are you going to solve it in short and long term?
Of course, that you already aware that we consider natural gas as a bridge fuel. So our main target is to decouple our economic growth with the impact on the environment. So Romania is looking forward for a green transition on the economic sector. In order to achieve this, this is why I told you in the beginning that we have dropped an unprecedented level of financing for renewables. We have a lot of projects, bigger shares of financing available for investments. So we need to keep still be focused on our transition path, keep our eye on the ball, and continue with this decarbonization process that Romania started around 8 years ago when the first drop of renewables were taking place in Romania.
If you allow, but because I think it's a very interesting perspective, again, neither Poland nor Lithuania recently, but Estonia, we are not nuclear countries. But when you say, okay, let's go for a green transition, it makes all Europeans more or less agree. If you say gas is a bridge fuel, well, more or less everybody will agree, even if we will probably not say loudly what does it mean, a bridge transition, and how long a bridge should take. But if you are talking about nuclear, it's not making unanimity in Europe. How do you see this discussion among your peers and whether we consider, yes or not, that nuclear is part of our survival, or it's just something not that much important? Maybe you and Dainius, you...
Of course, the nuclear program is very important in Romania, and I think that it will mix, it's a very good mix with renewables, the nuclear. Of course, renewables with storage capacities and nuclear for base load of production. But it's the same thing with the coal. There are the different countries that are not sustaining the production of energy through coal, as there are countries that are not sustaining the production of energy through nuclear. I think that every country cooperation and collaboration is very important nowadays, and we see that together we are stronger in the face of every aggression that is happening. But we should look very carefully about the specifics of every country and use in a very smart and intelligent way all the resources that each country have at its disposal.
Dainius?
Lithuania had a nuclear power plant, and we are still closing it and dismantling it. We imagine our future until 2030 that electricity, I mentioned on 100% we are going to have generated from renewables. But what we see that demand for electricity, having in mind that decarbonization means that electricity is the core energy, you are going to need more and more electricity for mobility, for decarbonization of industries, and so on and so forth. It means nuclear is inevitable from my point of view. Actually, to balance renewables, it's going to be a challenge. Actually, we don't have technologies, as hydrogen technologies, for example, at the place how to produce efficiently electricity from hydrogen and so on and so forth. So this is a lot of technological challenges we are going to have, but we are going to solve them. But nuclear, what was mentioned, George, what mentioned that for base load, for stability of the grid is the solution, particularly with small modular reactors, and maybe in the future those reactors become more and more safer, more and more, let's say, cleaner from radiation point of view. This could be a solution, but this solution will be available, what I hear from technicians, from scientists, after 2035. New generation small modular reactors. When we talk about 3 plus, 4th generation reactors. And in Lithuania, we're considering that when demand will increase further, this could be a solution, because we in Lithuania and after 2030 there is no place where to plant new wind farms or solar farms, it's done. But, and if you need to go further, nuclear is the solution. And I think the right mix for decarbonization, it's my personal point of view, is nuclear together with renewables.
So
now,
if you had a time machine, you spoke already previously about a time machine, would you close Ignalina?
Yeah, but you see, we had to close because those reactors were Chernobyl-type reactors and NBK. We had to close. But in 2012, we had already a contract agreement with Hitachi to build new reactor. And in the country, we had a referendum on whether to build this power plant. Actually, I would like to say, at that time, we were fighting information war with our eastern neighbor. Russians at that time wanted to construct one power plant in Kaliningrad, second in Belarus, next to our border. And we are pressed, let's say, in information area that to stop this project.
Yeah, so in fact,
and we lost the referendum.
We lost. Yeah. So in fact, this proxy energy war already started previously.
You see, our experience is longer than that. In 1991, after just when we announced our independence, at that time, Soviet Union started energy blockade for us. We had no oil, no gas. At that time, we didn't have heating, we didn't have cold, warm water and hot water and so on. But our experience, we know what we are facing now, we knew already 30 years ago. When we sold our refinery to Williams, an American company, Russians stopped supplying oil via pipeline. And we built oil terminal. Second step was war for gas independence. The Russians started to intervene into our internal politics via manipulating with gas prices. We built our LNG terminal. So now we are facing the last phase. We are still with our Baltic colleagues in electricity system together with Russia, and we are desynchronizing from them. But we are now safe because we have links. We have connectors. I mentioned with Poland, with Synchronous connector. We are ready to synchronize in emergency synchronization in any time. We have connector with Sweden, with Finland. So from security point of view, we are safe. So
you say, you say, I come back a little bit to my long-term perspective. So you say nuclear, yes, small modular reactors, yes, because in fact Russia forbid us through information war of going in this direction. Maybe it's the same, and that would be my question to Riina, with shale gas. How do you see this equation? Are we going to come back to shale oil, shale gas in Europe?
No, I don't think so. But as Estonia is not counting on small modular reactors to decarbonize, derusify, or diversify. We will do it before the small modular reactors are commercialized or commercializable. And the answer is Estonian wind. Estonia is so small that we only need 1,000 megawatts onshore wind, 1,000 megawatts offshore wind to cover our yearly consumption. So the goal is to cover our yearly electricity consumption only by renewable sources by 2030. So we are trying to beat Lithuania. You know, the Baltic competition goes on all the time.
Who's going to be the first, yes,
Yeah.
to put...
But at the same time, for base load, we have this heat and power co-generation plants working on local biomass. We need a hydro pumping station that Lithuania already has. And the question is whether it's a biomethane station working on local biogas. And we have oil shale, and since the production facilities are not, they are functional. So
you are very unique in this regard in Europe.
Yeah.
Oil shale is nobody else is producing.
And it's the worst in terms of waste. But if it is 1 week without wind, well, we can burn the oil shale for 1 week. It's still cheaper, it's still cleaner, and it's still local. So.
Okay, so that would be your answer to the intermittency of wind and other renewables. Okay, and let's come back to Romanian perspective. How?
Because Riina told about and mentioned about the offshore plans that they have, let me say that we are also in a competition in the Black Sea, because the World Bank showed us a potential for offshore wind in the Black Sea, and Romania has a lot of potential in this respect. And also we are in a competition with the other countries in the Black Sea to be the first country that will deploy offshore wind in the Black Sea. And the position of the strategic position of Constanța port is very important now due to this war in Ukraine. And also we are working with the World Bank in order to find legislative and framework that will provide balance between the Romanian interests in deploying offshore wind and the investors' needs.
Thank you very much. I have recently discussed with our friend Fatih Birol, and International Energy Agency provides us with the recent data that in OECD countries, gas consumption decreased by 10% in the last month. So we are adjusting, whether it's because prices are too high, whether there is not enough gas, but we are a little bit adjusting. So my question would be to you, and it's a difficult question. Are we going to win this energy war? I mean, are we going to experience shortages of energy during this winter, compared with your knowledge of ministers, with your knowledge of your resources, but also with your knowledge of the peers? Are we going to have enough energy to produce electricity, to heat our houses, or should we be at least mentally prepared for some kind of additional troubles? Riina, you start.
I think the base scenario is that we have enough energy, but it involves energy savings as well. Mm-hmm. So it's whether it's a smart demand response to the price level. For example, Estonian consumer is very price sensitive. In September, year-on-year gas consumption fell 41%.
Wow.
Because the prices are so high. We have no national measures or limitations. It just happened due to the price signals. And the consumption, I think, falls in Finland, probably in Latvia and Lithuania as well. And in the region, I think we don't have any these substantial shortcomings. But we are in a situation of war. Everything changes if Putin turns off gas, for example, for Hungary. It changed everything for Europe. So I think we should work on crisis solutions as well. What do we do if something happens, like with Nord Streams, or because these are
one of these terminals that Dainius mentioned will not be in place early enough, or will be mysteriously broken in a different manner. What do we do then, Dainius? What would be your answer?
You see, what we have, what we see from data, the consumption of gas is falling, and drastically. I saw discussions about this Fatiha announcement that maybe those data for this spike the period is taken too short, and so on and so forth. What we hear from authorities, European authorities, NSOG, gas regulators, that we are going to have enough gas in Europe. Yes, we have to save. Mandatory is to have plans for every country to save gas. To have at least in Lithuania we plan emergency plan what we are going to do if some shortage in the region appear, how we are going, let's say, to switch off some consumers, industries. Everything is prepared, everything is in the place. So, but main scenario, what Riina told, is that we are going we're going to have enough gas this winter, and we are not experience the shortage.
Perfect. And from Romanian perspective,
it's a very tough question. And 2 weeks ago at a conference, I heard a speaker saying that this winter is going to be a geopolitical winter, and but of course spring will come. So it's very. We'll end in a hope, with a hope in our mind. Our deposits are, gas deposits are almost full. 87% is the level of gas in our deposits. We are preparing for the winter. Of course, it will be a lack of responsibility not to see every scenario, and even in our worst case scenario, we will see that shortages may occur in the gas market. But same as Riina said, I think due to the prices, we will see a decrease of consumption naturally because of the high prices in gas.
Thank you very much for your extremely important perspective. You are at the front line of the proxy energy war, so your perspective is reassuring. But nevertheless, you are saying it's a war, so there will be a lot of uncertainties. So my last question would be, and I would like to ask you to have a very short answer. In this energy war, are we going to keep Europe's cohesion? Are we going to keep Europe unity? If we meet next year at Warsaw Security Forum and we prepare for the next winter, will we be able to say, okay, the winter 2022-2023 was the most difficult, how you say, geopolitical winter ever, but we as Europeans, we won because we kept our unity. Are we going to keep our unity?
Yes, I'm an optimist. I think this is what we all have to work for, that because after geopolitical winter, we'll have geopolitical spring. And if we lose the will to be united and let Russia divide us in the question of energy, not only Ukraine has lost, we have lost. And this is a future I think no one here wants. So I've repeatedly said that Russia is afraid of democracy, and democratic states being united, it's a weapon Russia has no match for. So this is something that we need to work on. This is our advantage.
Dainius, very quickly.
We'll keep our unity. Actually, what we need further moves with European-wide decisions, and each council we are moving forward with. And last council we we voted one reglement, and now our discussions are going to evolve around gas cap, and I think that we are going to be successful because we need to change some parameters. For example, the indexes, gas TTF index, which is connected to pipelines and have nothing with new situations. So decisions are needed to take, and I think that we will find decisions all together in Europe, and we will face, as Riina said, after geopolitical winter, geopolitical spring.
Yes or no, George?
Of course, Romania is aligned with all the European countries, willing to collaborate in close relationships, and of course ready to help Republic of Moldova, so extending basically the European Union level of which we are aiming to help the other countries. So
not only Europe, but also Europe with Moldova. With this optimistic accent, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank very, very much my distinguished colleagues from Estonia, Lithuania and Romania for this wonderful opening panel of Warsaw Security Forum.